Scene script. Have you ever wondered how a social media spat can impact international relations? Well, here's a recent example between India and Maldives. Picture this. The Indian Prime Minister, in a bid to promote tourism, highlights the beauty of Lakshadweep, an Indian archipelago not far from the Maldives. Simple enough, right? But this seemingly innocuous action didn't sit well with some officials in the Maldives, who perceived it as an attempt to divert tourism away from their own shores. It didn't stop here, though. These officials took to social media and made derogatory remarks about India's Prime Minister, and thus a diplomatic spat was born. But this wasn't just a war of words. No, the fallout was palpable, and it was the tourism industry that bore the brunt. The call to action came swiftly, with Indian tourists boycotting the Maldives. Various travel platforms and even Bollywood celebrities threw their weight behind this boycott, urging Indians to explore local tourism instead. This was a significant blow to the Maldivian tourism sector, considering that Indians made up a considerable 11% of tourists to the Maldives in the previous year. But this diplomatic tussle didn't stop at tourism. It had far-reaching geopolitical implications as well. The Maldivian president, perhaps sensing the strain in relations with India, turned his gaze towards China, looking to strengthen ties with the Asian giant. It's worth noting that these events came on the heels of a presidential election that saw the victory of a candidate favoring closer ties with China. This diplomatic spat has had significant repercussions, but how did we get here? Let's trace back the events. The current tensions didn't spring up overnight. They were brewing for some time, starting with the 2023 Maldivian presidential election. In this crucial election, a shift in power occurred as Mohamed Muizzu emerged victoriously. Known for his pro-China stance, Muizzu's win was a display of the Maldives' changing geopolitical preferences. His victory was not just a personal triumph, but a testament to the nation's evolving political landscape. Muizzu's pledge to strengthen ties with China and remove the Indian military presence was seen as a significant departure from the Maldives' traditional India-first approach. This move was viewed as a potential threat to India's influence in the island nation, putting many of its development projects in jeopardy. India, with its neighborhood-first policy, had enjoyed a solid relationship with the Maldives under the previous president, Ibrahim Mohamed Solih. However, Muizzu's election seemed to signal a change in tide. His victory brought with it a significant shift in the Maldives' foreign policy, leaning more towards Beijing than New Delhi. But the impact of this political shift goes beyond bilateral relations. The Maldives, a chain of 26 atolls in the Indian Ocean, holds strategic importance due to its prime geographic location. It sits along major sea lanes, making it a valuable player in regional security and trade. India's influence in the Maldives, therefore, is not just about maintaining friendly relations with a neighbor. It's also about securing its interests in a region where other global powers, like China, are seeking to increase their footprint. So, when Muizzu promised to remove Indian security personnel and strengthen ties with Beijing, it wasn't just a local issue. It reverberated across regional power corridors, signaling a potential shift in the balance of power in the Indian Ocean region. This shift in power signaled a change in the Maldives' foreign policy, but it didn't stop there. With the new president in office, the Maldives took a decisive turn towards China, further straining relations with India. President Mohamed Muizzu made his first state visit to Beijing, signaling a new era in the Maldives' international relations. During this visit, the two nations signed several agreements covering areas like climate, agriculture, and infrastructure. Notably, Chinese President Xi Jinping expressed support for the Maldives' development path, affirming the strengthening bond between the two countries. However, this new direction has not been without its critics. The World Bank, for instance, has voiced concerns over the Maldives' growing reliance on China. The island nation already owes Beijing a significant amount of debt, and further dependence could potentially lead to economic challenges down the line. Adding fuel to the fire, President Muizu has promised to remove Indian security personnel from the Maldives. This move, seen by some as an attempt to sever ties with India, has been met with controversy. It's worth noting, however, that Muizu has denied any plans to replace Indian forces with Chinese ones, claiming that such allegations are unfounded. Despite these assurances, the actions of the Maldivian government have caused tensions with India to escalate. The social media posts by Muizu's junior ministers disparaging Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi have not helped matters, stirring up further discord. With these developments, the Maldives seems to be pivoting away from India. But what does this mean for the future? The current state of India-Maldives relations raises many questions about the future. The recent diplomatic tussle and a power shift in the Maldives are reshaping the dynamics of the relationship. These changes could have significant implications for India's neighborhood-first policy and the Maldives' India-first approach. This synergy, once a beacon of hope for stronger bilateral ties, now stands under a cloud of uncertainty. If relations continue to deteriorate, India may face the challenge of maintaining its influence in the region. With the Maldives leaning towards China, the Indian Ocean region's geopolitical landscape could undergo a significant change. On the flip side, the Maldives, heavily indebted to China, could find itself further ensnared in debt traps, potentially threatening its sovereignty. For India, the challenge is to navigate this complex situation while maintaining its regional interests. For the Maldives, the need to balance its relationships with India and China could shape its foreign policy for years to come. Only time will tell what the future holds for India-Maldives relations. But one thing is clear, it's a complex and dynamic situation that deserves our attention.